Good afternoon, everyone. Got it. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you. As Debbie shared, my name is Nicole, and I just came out with a cookbook last year, which is called Simple and Sweet. And I'm super excited for all of you that got the opportunity to get the free copies. Also, it's not too late. If you did not sign up in time for that, you can also go to my website and purchase it there as well. Which you can get that from Debbie as well, which is just aroundtheworldin7days.com. Today's cooking class is really going to feature different foods that can help you thrive, that are delicious. And also we want to spotlight heart health, as this is the month for that. And I just want to share some interesting facts that stand out to me. Every 36 seconds, one American dies due to cardiovascular heart disease, which is pretty phenomenal. Every 36 seconds. Within this time that we're going to be here today, people, unfortunately, are passing due to cardiovascular disease. That's how serious it is. But the good thing is we don't have to. We can change and update our lifestyles and eat healthy foods like we're going to go over today that can help us to thrive. Also, interesting fact, about 18.2 million adults aged 20 and older have coronary artery disease. 20 and older. That is some statistics that were found from the CDC's website. So today we really want to hone in on information that can help us thrive and that is good for our health. And I know we're entering the new year, so I just wanted to touch base with everyone. I love to make these cooking classes interactive. So I would love to know, a lot of you are coming here to learn some delicious plant-based meals. And I'm also curious, how many of you had a goal or have a goal for this 2022 to lose weight?
Oh,
Don't be shy. You do?
I do. Yes.
Awesome. Excellent. That is an excellent goal. Does anyone else have that goal?
I do.
Yes. Okay. Well, you have come to the right place. I will share with you, once I started eating plant-based food, I actually lost about 10 to 15 pounds, 10 pounds within the first 2 weeks. And granted, that is completely jumping in 100%. And when it comes to lifestyle changes, we have to decide, like, what is our pattern that we want to choose? Do we want to, one option you can do is you can start implementing or adding some healthy foods into your diet, like slowly or gradually removing things that are toxic and replacing it with healthier things, which is sustainable. Or you can jump in 100%. Sometimes when you jump in 100%, it is not as sustainable because it's like a shock to the system. So today we're going to talk about some healthy meals that you can integrate into your lifestyle. One of the reasons why I asked that, because this is called ground flaxseed. It's our flaxseed meal. This is amazing. If you take screenshots, go ahead and do that. I highly recommend it. It's also good for heart health. It helps to lower the bad cholesterol within your body, and it's great for weight loss. You can sprinkle this over your food. About 2 tablespoons a day is a good amount. You can sprinkle this over your food, and it helps to remove different toxins from your body. If you sprinkle it over your food, it actually works as a broom where it removes different toxins and or waste from your body, and it's less likely to stick. So I highly recommend this for weight loss. Another way to do it is to start your day off with warm water with lemon. And then you can add about a tablespoon of ground flaxseed in there as well. And some people put even a little teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in the morning, and then at night, or just in the morning is a good way to kickstart and help flush your system. So ground flaxseed is a really great thing to add to your lifestyle. So that's just one thing you won't see in the meals that I'm going to make today, but this is a great thing to add to your regimen. So ground flaxseed, highly recommend. Excellent for weight loss. Now let's get into the cooking. So our first dish that we're going to start is called sweet potato bisque or sweet potato soup. So you'll find in your cookbook, if you've already pre-registered, this is the cookbook that you'll be getting. And you'll find I call it sweet potato soup. I'm going to make it into a bisque today, so it's creamy. And so the great thing is, for this recipe, I'm actually taking a peeled sweet potato. I just got from the store, and I'm going to use this as a base for our soup. So to get us started, I'm going to switch over to this camera, which is, you'll see the sweet potato. Can you guys see the camera with my sweet potato?
No.
No.
Not yet. Let me
Okay.
pin it. Okay, do you see it now?
I can
Can you
see
guys?
mine.
Yes, I see it.
Okay. All right. So for the sweet potato, I'm going to first cut it in half.
I don't see it.
I don't see it.
I'm
I
not
didn't see
seeing.
it either. I'm so sorry. It says selling. And I saw 2 refrigerators. That was it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to speak from another one and see if. Okay. Can you see it now?
Okay, yes, we're good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Got feedback on the audio.
I'm what? Okay.
Okay. So now I cut the sweet potato in half, and I'll just cut it up into, just one more time I'll cut it. And so I'll cut it into 4s. So I took 2 halves. I just cut it down this way. So now I have 4 different pieces that I'm going to use. And for the base, I'm going to have a mirepoix. So I will just cut. So mirepoix is, it's a base that's filled with onions, celery, and carrots. And so for this, I'm going to cut my celery just into little pieces.
You're gone.
All right. Celery is actually really good for the body. One thing that I love about celery is it can really help to regenerate our body and help to flush out toxins. So there's a book called The Medical Medium. And in that book, they also talk about using celery juice as a way of cleansing and restoring the body. So juicing celery it can be really beneficial. It has lots of different health benefits, and you can check that out to get more details. But I love celery. It's a really good thing to add to our diet, and it's a good thing to juice if you're trying to cleanse your body. So in addition to the celery, so we have celery there, I'm going to also, in the store, you can get frozen mirepoix, which is the theme of the book is essentially meals that are easy and ready to go. And so one of the things, and one of the things that I like to do is like make things as simple as possible when cooking, especially if you're on the go. So I'm going to move over to my next camera, the original one that I was speaking on. All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so now when it comes to cooking different meals, I like to make it as simple as possible. So one of the things that I like to use is a frozen mirepoix, which is carrots, celery, and onions. So I actually, in addition to the celery that we just chopped together, I have frozen mirepoix that I'm going to add. If you want to make it from scratch, also you can cut onions, celery, and carrots in this portion. So I'm going to add this to my base, and I'm going to cook it in water. A really good thing for making heart healthy foods is to cook your food in water as opposed to oil, because oil can clog the arteries. And for example, even if you were to have, and I think, some oils in moderation are okay, but if you're trying to overcome a heart problem, it's good to do no oil. And so especially processed oil, for example, if you were to have, let's say oil from an olive. The best way to actually have it is directly from the olive because it also includes the fiber, which helps your body break it down versus having pure oil. So there's not a buffer there for your body. So I'm going to cook it in water so that it can be great for our heart health. And I'm going to use that as a base. So I'm going to move my camera so you can kind of see a little bit more as I'm putting this into the pot. All right. So I'm going to put mirepoix at the base. Okay. I'm going to put the celery that we just cooked too in there. And I'm going to add some Himalayan salt to season. And Himalayan salt is a really good thing to add into your dishes because it's less processed. And I really like that it adds a nice flavor. It accents the natural flavors that are there. I'm going to add just a little bit of Himalayan salt as the base. And our pan is heating up. So as it's heating up, I'm going to move on to our next dish. So the goal is for this to simmer, and this will simmer, and then we'll add some more ingredients. And as that's heating up, I'll move on to our next dish. All right. So for our next dish, we're in the process of cooking our sweet potato soup. And for our next dish, we're going to have walnut meat tacos. How many of you have ever tried walnut meat before? Never? Okay. This is exciting.
I have.
I'm glad we get to. You have?
My father used to make meatballs with walnuts. It was really delicious.
Ooh, amazing.
Yeah.
That is creative. Yeah, I definitely love that. I like having the meatballs and the walnut meat as a good thing for us to add, as opposed to having over processed meat. Sometimes when I go, and I think, having that in moderation is okay, but the best is having it natural, directly from the source is the best way for the body. So to do walnut meat, all I did was I took walnuts. I took about 12 ounces. This is a small portion from that. 12, is there an alternative to walnut meat for those who are allergic? I didn't see the full, can you share that question, Celeste?
Is there an alternative to walnut meat for those with nut allergies?
With nut allergies? That is an excellent question. I think for a natural thing, there's lots of natural things that you can use. For example, like young green jackfruit are some things that you can use for like a meat replacement. Mushrooms, having a grain and a legume mixed together gives you the perfect protein. So there's definitely other alternatives instead of walnut meat. You can use lots of different bases. Walnut's just the one that I'm using, but you can definitely use like shredded young green jackfruit. You can mix a grain and a legume like a bean and a brown rice. You can mix that together to make a meat, mince it. Those are different alternatives that I can think of. So what I did with the walnut, I just took the water. Yeah, and you can also use bulgur wheat too. And so for this, I just took the walnuts in the water and I just let it sit for about 6 hours. You can actually let it sit overnight. So the whole goal of this is and it's just room temperature water. The whole goal for this is for the walnuts to soak and become softer. So it won't have so much of a nuttier crunch. So this helps to make it more of like a meatier texture. So I let this soak overnight or at least 6 hours. And then once it's done, then we'll drain it. And the good thing is, as we're talking, I can literally smell our mirepoix cooking. I wish you were here with me. We're going to have fun together. So I'm going to show you my pot that's cooking with the celery, the carrots, and the onions. So it's boiling now. And so we're allowing that to go. So I'm sauteing the mirepoix in about a half cup of water. Now, since I've done that, and it's about a half cup of mirepoix. Now, since I've done that, I'm going to add some fennel seeds. I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds to give it an extra punch of flavor. I love flavor. So we've got some fennel seeds in there. We're going to let that cook down. So it can, and for whenever you add different spices, or for example, in this case, fennel seeds, make sure to have it on for a small amount of time so it doesn't burn, because the base is one of the most essential and critical parts of the dish, because this is where all of the flavor comes. So if you burn anything on the bottom, your whole dish will taste burnt. Versus, you know, keeping everything in good temperature, in a good temperature and seasoned well, it will come all the way through the dish and you'll taste it throughout the whole dish. So the base really lays the foundation for the food. So we've got fennel seeds, we've got mirepoix in there. Can you guys smell it? Can you smell it? I'm trying to bring it to you. Trying to bring it to your noses. But it is amazing right now. The fennel seed just, oh, it smells so good. It's a powerful, pungent, sweet smell. So we've got that going. And now I'm going to add some chicken style seasoning. I'm gonna add a little bit of that in there to season it. And then also I'm going to, so we add Himalayan salt, chicken style seasoning, fennel seeds, and then we have the carrots. Oh my good, oh my gosh. Okay, woo, this is so good. Yes, thank you God. Okay, we got this going. And the next thing I'm gonna add is some V8 juice. I'm going to put V8 juice to also give it another layer of flavor. And so this will now take this up, and it's vegetable juice. You can get it low sodium. And we've got the V8 in there. And the next thing I'm going to add is our sweet potato. We want this to soak up the flavor and to cook down. And I'm going to add 5 cups of water. All right. And then on top of that, so we've got our water, our coconut milk, our V8. Oh, our coconut milk is next. So for this, I'm going to take coconut milk. I got it. It's organic coconut milk right here. So I'm just going to take this whole can. It's about 13.5 ounces. And I'm going to pour it in there. Sometimes at the top, it gets stuck. So that's the coconut, which is a healthy fat. We're going to pour this in there. So for all of you watching at home, trust the process. This may not look like much, but what's going to happen is all the flavor is going to come together. And when we blend it, everything will be accented and it will show. So right now we're going to let that cook. All right.
Nicole, there's a couple questions about the, can someone use fennel paste instead of the seeds?
Oh, fennel paste. That is a unique one. Sure. I mean, you can try fennel paste. I don't see why not, depending on what's the ingredients in it. But if it's just from fennel seeds, sure.
Okay. Another one is coconut milk okay for heart patients?
So it depends. Like if someone is, so for example, if someone is just wanting to live a healthier life and they want to eat healthier foods, having natural fats are fine. But if someone is in a critical state with their heart, it's better to avoid. I would remove coconut milk from adding from this dish. If they were in like a critical heart condition, I would remove coconut milk from the dish.
Yeah, is there another option than coconut milk?
You could use, instead of coconut milk, you could use maybe like almond milk, or you could use oat milk. You could use those two as a replacement. Oat milk is creamier, so maybe oat milk.
Thank you.
Yes. So now I'm gonna let this cook. I'm gonna put the top on and let it cook down. And then we'll move on to our walnut tacos. So I also wanted to share with, the cool thing about the sweet potatoes is also it has about 400% of vitamin A, the vitamin A that you need in a day. And when sweet potatoes are cooked down, they help to lower the bad cholesterol within your body. And also, they're good when they're cooked down. They are lower on the glycemic index, which is better for those that are diabetic, to have a complex carbohydrate such as a sweet potato as opposed to a white potato. So they have a lot of different great attributes that is good for you when you're eating your different things. They're also rich in B vitamins, vitamin C, calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, thiamine, and zinc. Yeah, so those are just a few good things. And so we're gonna go on to our next dish, which will be the walnut meat tacos. So we talked about how we have the walnuts soaking, and now I'm going to share with you what I do with the walnuts. So we're going to take the camera over to this section. All right. Okay. So for this, I'm going to put it in a food processor. So I have the soaked walnuts here. And in the food processor, I'm also going to add sun-dried tomatoes that looks just like this. So I'm going to add the soaked walnuts. I'm going to add sun-dried tomatoes. This is full of flavor. Sun-dried tomatoes. I'm also going to add a 4th cup of water. And we may need additional water depending as we're blending. And then I'm also going to add lime juice, about a 1/3 cup of lime juice, fresh lime juice. And then I'm also going to add taco seasoning, about a tablespoon of taco seasoning. So it's really fresh and pungent from the lime. And then the taco seasoning gives it flavor. The sun-dried tomatoes accent and it gives another layer of flavor. And the water helps it with blending. So we've got those all together. And now I'm just going to process it. All right. So, and then sometimes when you're processing, you might want to give it a little stir because sometimes the bottom gets more processed than the rest. Let's give it a little stir. So you want to make sure you don't mince it too much so that it doesn't become too processed like a pate, but you want it to have enough, body so that it can still take on the imitation of meat. And so this is, if you can see, this is how it's going. Okay, hold on one second. All right. Okay, so can you see the meat consistency? Or do you guys think I should blend it one more time? Okay, great. Awesome. All right, so now we've got this made. If you are interested in eating raw and you don't want to have any, you don't want to heat it up or anything like that, you can honestly eat it just like that. You can just put it into a taco shell and you're ready to go. If you like it to be cooked, which I've noticed a lot of people that have it do, you can do exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to cook it in water. So I'm going to turn on our stove. Okay, okay, there. Okay. All right, and I'm going to put some water just as a base. And I'm going to remove this. I'm just going to do a little bit in the skillet today. So I want you to also get a feel. If you can see, this is what it looks like. And see if I can do it with the light. Can you see it? All right, awesome. So this is what it looks like. And so since you're not here, I have to do the honors and do this for both of us. So this is me doing this for the team. This is a team effort. Okay, so I'm gonna try it for us all. Okay. Okay, that's good. Woo! Okay, that's good. Now the lime gives it a nice zest and brings out the flavor. The sun-dried tomatoes just like bring it all together. And then you have a little bit of nuttiness from the walnut. That's good. Honestly, you can eat it cold, but we're gonna heat it up just in case if you like it more. Okay. So this is starting to go. If you want, you can also saute garlic at the base and then put this on top. So I'm just warming this up. And as if you do decide to heat it up, you can, with heat, sometimes it takes away from the flavor. So you can always add a little bit of more garlic powder or a little bit more taco seasoning. If you're gonna cook it, you can just add just a dash to accent more flavor if you're adding heat. Have you ever noticed sometimes if you cook something in the microwave, it tastes completely different than when you had it when it was just
Yes.
hot? Have you ever noticed that? So basically, it completely changes the composition of the food. The best way, I can't say completely, but it does change. The best way to eat, if you have to reheat food, is actually to use a stovetop and or oven. It's healthier for your body. Sometimes quick is not always best, but it's best to do stovetop or oh, that's smelling good. So stovetop or an oven.
You say, I don't know how to type it in, and I apologize. You always cook with water. Olive oil and vegetable oil are not good for you, are not healthy for you?
So I would say olive oil is health. Olive oil and or avocado oil are healthier than other like random oils. And I say random oils that don't come directly from a like a vegetable or fruit, or you know, like if it's an olive oil, that's healthier than just generic vegetable oil because there's just a lot of other processing. But I think the best way is to have no oil that is not processed. If you do have oil, the better ones are definitely like olive oil and or avocado oil. It's better for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's a great
Nicole,
question.
There's also a couple questions I think about the vegetables. Can you cook the vegetables, vegetable broth instead of water?
Oh, yes, for sure. And wait, and which one was that for? For any meal or for a particular one that I made?
I think the other one that you are making, not
The
tacos.
The sweet potato soup?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, you can definitely do that. That's a good suggestion. So when I put the chicken style seasoning on it, it gives the same taste of like a vegetable soup. So when you add the water, it just accents up. But you could also, for additional flavor, you could also have vegetable broth, and it's good to get it low sodium.
And something about the V8, it says it does have quite a bit of sodium. And I know you mentioned the low sodium.
Yep, low sodium is good. I like the low sodium. You can also, if you want, you could also make, like a vegetable broth or a V8 sauce from scratch. Also, that's the best way to eliminate any additional. I do like low sodium as it's more practical for what I'm doing. And then we also have like water that's added. And so it gets watered down by the different things that are in the dish. But yes, I definitely recommend low sodium, or you can make it from scratch.
Okay. And another question is, what do you think about TVP? Would that be a healthy alternative?
Textured vegetable protein. I think, and that comes from soy. So I think, with soy, it depends, like not everyone's body responds well to soy. I recommend, if you do have soy, to have lower amounts, to not have excessive amounts. Excessive amounts of soy can lead to other problems. But I think within moderation, you could definitely use TVP.
Okay. Should we not use microwave at all? That's one of the questions.
To be honest with you, microwaves, if you can avoid using one, it's better for you. If you can, yeah, it is better for your health if you do not use one. But I think, within the day that we live in, that's something that is just so accessible and it's more practical. So within moderation, just being conscious to try to reduce your amount of time using the microwave and try to cook on the stovetop and oven more if you can.
That's great. Those are great.
Mm-hmm.
Another question, what chicken base do you recommend? Because there are several that have the hydrogenated oils.
So I normally, are you talking about for the vegetable broth?
Yeah.
Okay, so I normally I use, for a vegetable broth, I actually kind of use it from seasoning and I make it into more of a base. So for example, like I'll use a chicken style seasoning, and I'll use that and I'll add water, and that actually makes the vegetable broth. I usually use it from my mentor, which it's you can purchase it up north. I'm actually having a wellness retreat there in March, and you're welcome to join. It's March 18th through 20th. He and I will be making meals there. I normally use, like, let's say his chicken style seasoning, and I add water and make a broth from that. Also, if you go to the store, you could get different type of chicken style seasoning, add water, and add a base. So I use kind of dry rub, and then I add water to make my vegetable broth. All right. Okay, so I'm going to move on to our next topping. So that's our taco meat, which sauteed. I set it to the side. And now I'm going to go over to our avocado topping. That is actually going to be used for two things. And so I will go over to our avocado sauce. And actually, we can put this here, and then I'll put the blender. If you can put the blender over there, and we'll do that. So for our avocado sauce, I'm going to be using silken tofu, which is really good for making a creamier base, and this is soy as well. So I'll be using this for making a sauce with no oil. So I have silken tofu, and then I also have frozen avocado pieces. I like getting the frozen avocado pieces because it's easier if you live in a place where avocados are not always in season. So frozen avocados are great, and they're also loaded with potassium, which is really good. And they also help with good cholesterol. So what I definitely like that as well. It have lots of minerals, and minerals help keep your heartbeat steady. So avocados relate in that way in terms of heart health, and they help to lower the bad cholesterol in your body. And some even say they can actually help with weight loss because they with the fiber and the different nutrients that you get within an avocado, it actually makes you feel fuller longer. So you're less likely to have junk food and snacks to fill a void of hunger when you have something that's more filling, which also we talked about ground flaxseed can help as well. That's fiber as well. So avocados are great for heart health. Again, if you're in a very critical heart state, I recommend you to work with your doctor and tailor a diet specifically for that if you're in a critical standpoint. But if you're trying to have healthy heart weight and you're just trying to improve your health, I definitely recommend adding avocados.
How are you?
I've been awake. Yeah.
There
I
was-
have- Here we go.
I saw.
But nothing. It wasn't any more to have any more.
Okay, so I have a few questions in the chat.
I think you've answered everything. Did I
Okay.
miss one?
Someone said something about, is it virtual or in person?
Oh, I
Think
missed
about
that.
your March retreat.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Those are excellent questions. So the retreat is actually in person. It's in Northern Michigan. It's going to be at Camp Sable. If you go to my website, you can actually get details directly from there and you can actually reserve your spot. There's pricing if you're going to be like with a group or if you don't mind sharing a room for 3 people. Also, if you want to be by yourself, there's a different price. But essentially what it is, it's a wellness retreat, 3 days. Myself and my mentor, Chef Miguel, will be preparing meals. Also, we have a naturopathic doctor, we have guest speakers and a certified personal trainer that will be having different wellness workshops all throughout the weekend and very interactive things. And so we're super excited. If you're interested in that, you can go to the website. Till March 7th, we have a discount going now. But yeah, so if you're interested, check out the website. And yeah, I think it's going to be fun. So that's a great place. And if there's something, if someone was asking for chicken style seasoning, if you let me know ahead of time, I can work to have some of those set aside when you arrive. The date is March 18th. The workshop is March 18th through the 20th. And it starts the evening of that Friday and it goes into Saturday. Yes.
Oh, in person.
All right. And it's in person and we will have a COVID-19 screening for attendees to make sure the symptoms, no one is experiencing symptoms. So we will have that screening as well prior to individuals coming to the event. And now I'll go ahead and shift over to our avocado sauce. Okay, so now for our avocado sauce, I'm gonna put the silken tofu in. I'm gonna put the frozen avocado. I'm also gonna put some fresh parsley. And it's really good to get fresh herbs because that allows you to have more flavor and it requires you to use less sauce or less salt, which causes hypertension, which is one of the causes of hypertension. So reducing your salt intake by fresh herbs is a really great thing. So we're going to use fresh parsley. I'm also going to use about 7 garlic cloves. And when you get the book, you'll be able to have all the exact measurements. Also lemon juice, I'm going to add that. Okay, and then I'm also going to add water as well. All right. All right. Now our sauce is done. I'm also going to add a little bit of Himalayan salt to accent the flavors.
Oops.
And you can put the
Right.
salt in before you actually blend also.
Nicole, there's a question regarding
So
the
now that we've got
parsley.
that, the sauce done, which is a green sauce, now I'm gonna go and finish off the tacos.
I Himalayan salt, not regular salt.
I don't think she can hear us.
Okay.
Nicole?
We'll have to wait till she unmutes. I think she.
Yeah.
Figured it out.
All right.
Nicole, we had several questions.
Oh, you did? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, where can we buy the chicken style seasoning?
You can go, I know if you go into different plant-based stores, they usually will have chicken seasoning. Also, you can go to, let's say, even Walmart or Kroger and look for like, it might say something like, let's see. It'll say like, it'll have like a name on it and then it'll say chicken on it, but it doesn't. And check the label. It shouldn't have actual any animal products. It's just what you use to season the chicken. So you can just double check the label. Another thing, of course, if you're coming up north, you can also get it there as well. McKay's. I was just informed some people use McKay's. So you can look at, just make sure you look at the label. Doesn't have any animal products in it. But yeah, you can just look for chicken, and I was shared, someone else shared with me McKay's. So yeah, you can just get it at any local store. The particular one that I use that I highly recommend is definitely up north, but you can also get other types here, wherever you are actually, because I know people are joining from all over the US. So you can go to your local store and just look for a chicken seasoning.
Okay, for
Really?
the parsley, do you use, does it matter if it's Italian or regular parsley?
Yeah, I prefer regular parsley. I find it to be more potent. But I notice Italian, I gear that more towards Italian dishes. I recommend using the other one, just plain parsley. It's more potent for me, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
And because
Can you substitute cilantro for the parsley?
you can, as long as you don't mind having a strong cilantro flavor, you can definitely substitute that.
Yeah, I struggle with high blood pressure, but if I had to take that little pill every morning that I would not like to take, so I'm working on losing weight. I noticed that you use Himalayan salt. Is there a difference? Is one better for you than the other?
That's a good question. When it comes to salt, if you just were to use generic table salt, interesting enough, sometimes the white is actually used, it becomes white, some of the salt, because it is used an animal product to make it white. The white salt tends to be more processed, and not as good for you as would, sorry, the soup is just in my face. Not as good for you as Himalayan salt, which is less processed. So I recommend using salt that's less processed. If you were to use salt, Another thing is liquid aminos. If you were to get that with like lower sodium, that's a good way of using salts. And if you're really trying to get that down, another way I recommend is if you use a lot of fresh herbs and spices, it will reduce the need of salts because it'll be packed with so much flavor. And if you do use any, it'll be just very minimal,
Okay.
just to accent flavor. So salt is not a staple, it's just something, a little dash. And if you use more herbs and spices, it'll be so potent you'll need less flavor,
All right.
less salt.
All right. Thank you so much.
For sure.
Okay, so that sauce looks good. Can we use it as a salad dressing?
Yes, you are gonna see what we're gonna do next. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm gonna
It's a replacement.
I'm gonna show you really quick the tacos, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do with the sauce, and I'll come right back to your questions.
Okay.
So here is the sauce. Oh, okay, don't do what I did. Here's the sauce right there that we just made. It is delicious. We just made from scratch sauce together. And what I'm gonna do with it, first, I'm gonna take the taco meat that we just made together, and I'm going to start to load it onto the tacos.
Mm. Hmm.
All right, so I'm gonna put some taco meat there.
It's a good
Yes,
consistency.
I'm tasting through the screen. I love that. And then we're going to use some shredded cabbage and place this there. Then I'm going to take the green sauce. And I'm just gonna drizzle it.
Looks good.
So you've got some of this going. I'm gonna put some cilantro on it to
Good.
accent flavors. There we go. Voila, you've got tacos ready to go. Now, so if you want to take a screenshot, this is where you do it. This is the screenshot moment. Now, if you would like me to taste it for you, like I said, I'm always here for the team. So if this is, let me know what type of tortillas. Excellent question. I use corn tortillas, which is really good. Especially if you're diabetic, it's way better than a flour tortilla because it's complex and it doesn't break down as quickly into sugar as a white flour tortilla would. So I highly recommend this one, even for weight loss. That is really good because it's corn. It's more directly from the source. It's less processed, and it's really good for weight loss as well. So I highly recommend it. Someone said it looks very good to me. I take it as a sign for us to eat it for you both, for us all. So I will, I will take a bite really quick for us all. So here, I just want to show you the taco. You can make this at home too. So this is something you're going to be making also. So you'll get the recipe for this after you leave here today. Oh. Okay. That's good. So I try not to distract myself. That's distracting. That was very good. So I definitely highly recommend. It's great. Now, I'm going to go over to, we're going to use the green sauce for another thing. We're going to do it for a topping for our salad. Cruciferous vegetables are really good for you. So I'm using broccoli and cauliflower. Excellent for weight loss too. Can help you feel more fuller sooner. And you're eating veggies. So this is not something you need to be concerned about counting your calories. If anything, it's the sauce. But we use silken tofu, we didn't use a lot of fat. So now I'm going to take this cauliflower and broccoli, And I'm also going to add raisins to add a more of another layer of flavor. So I'm going to add, you can come a little closer to the right. Okay, so then I'm going to add raisins.
Carrots or those peppers.
And I'm going to use some shredded organic carrots.
Okay. That looks good.
I'm going to take you everywhere. Whoever that is, you are amazing.
That's Sister Joe.
You are awesome. Okay, so now here's our avocado sauce that we made together. I'm going to actually put this in like this is a salad. Someone asked the question earlier, can you use it for a salad? Absolutely. I'm using this with the cauliflower and the broccoli, mixing it together.
Can you use craisin in place of the raisin?
Definitely. You can definitely use that. So add a little bit more. You want it to cover it. Just tossing, making sure everything is evenly distributed. And you can store this in your fridge up to like 5 or 7 days because it's fresh. You can also freeze it. And what I like to do to keep like this whole heart health and healthy lifestyle sustainable, I like to cook on Sundays if I'm able to, and use that for the rest of the week. So for example, we just made tacos, soup, and all this, and just eat through it throughout the week. So we've got that going. And then for an added layer of flavor, I'm going to use lemon juice. So I'm going to, because I'm going to need it for that. Okay. So I'm going to squeeze some lemon juice on here as well to accent the flavor. And I'm also okay. And then I'm also going to use some Himalayan salt and a little bit of garlic powder. All right. Now you have a big bowl of leafy greens, I should say, but more of like a green salad with your cruciferous vegetables, shredded carrots, avocado sauce, and this is good to go. In terms of avocado sauce, I said, 5 to 7 days, but as you know, avocado sometimes tends to turn brown. So adding more lemon, if you're going to keep it over, 2 days or so, is really important, or citric acid to help keep its flavor so it doesn't brown.
Yeah,
All right,
there's a
questions?
question in there.
Yeah.
Is the avocado sauce and the soup are in your cookbook also?
Yes, they are.
Oh, okay. All right,
Mhm.
perfect. And then there's a couple questions. Go back up. Okay, right here. Okay, Bill's Best. I think that was the chicken style seasoning
Mm-hmm.
that can be purchased from Amazon.
Yep.
If people would like. Question about what about liquid aminos? I think that's when we were talking about the.
Yeah, liquid aminos. It's a protein, but it is less. It's more similar to like soy sauce, and it has typically, depending on the one you get, has less sodium. So it's a nice replacement for salt. But if you do get liquid aminos, make sure you look at the jar that you get and make sure the sodium level is not too high. Some of them are higher sodium levels than others. So a coconut liquid aminos tends to have a lower. Bragg's liquid aminos exactly is sold at Kroger. I've noticed coconut liquid aminos tends to have a lower sodium count and rate. So I definitely recommend checking that out and see if that works for you.
Mhm.
You only need a small amount. You don't need a lot because it's potent.
Yeah. Can that walnut meat be used as a chili also? Be used in chili also?
Absolutely. Excellent excellent. Yes, it can definitely be used in chili.
Does somebody lives in Georgia? Do we know of any plant-based store?
And well, I know, so I've been to Georgia a couple times. There is stores that cut there. I'm sure there are like specific plant-based stores, but there are stores that have plant-based options there. And I've noticed Publix, Publix tends to have plant-based options there, a lot of plant-based options. So I definitely recommend going there if you're looking for plant-based foods. Also, if you just go to your regular store, if it's not processed, then you can get, you know, like your regular walnuts or sweet potatoes, different things like at any store. But if it's a more specific, let's say liquid aminos or silken tofu, I definitely recommend checking out Publix.
Nope.
But granted, I am not a native Georgia resident. That has just been in my times visiting. That's what I found.
Okay.
What does the salt add to the fresh salad?
Oh, it accents flavors. So it accents the lemon. It also accents the avocado and brings out the flavors.
You okay?
So you don't really have to use the salt then?
You don't have to know.
Okay. I think I
So
got-
when I make the avocado sauce in itself, it has a little bit of Himalayan salt in it. So it doesn't on its own, it doesn't need it.
She's on mute.
Oh, wow. Were you guys not able to hear me the whole time?
Right.
No, just part of the time. There was other people talking, so I muted everyone. I didn't realize it was going to mute you too.
Oh, okay. Yes, no problem. So basically, with the salt, adding it to the actual dish allows to accent the flavors. So like whenever, like for example, the green sauce, I put a little Himalayan salt in there. But because I put it on top of another item, so for example, if you take a sauce and you put over pasta, or you take a sauce and you put it over another vegetable, sometimes it can cause it to lose a little bit of the flavor. So I just add a little dash of salt to bring those flavors back out. You notice if you buy like sauce that's like stored in the store, it already has a lot of sodium, so you don't really notice a difference. But if you make a sauce from scratch, you'll notice it might taste one way when you have it on its own, but when you add a starch or something different, it changes. Someone said, can you elaborate on plant-based? What do you mean by that? Like, are you wanting to know what the definition is?
I'm looking at the way that you cook, and I'm thinking, I'm vegetarian, and
Okay.
my daughter is vegan by definition. She actually is vegan. So I'm trying to figure out, when you say plant-based, is just whole foods, or do you do any type of vegetarian meat whatsoever? Because my thought process is veggie meat comes from soy, or some of it comes from some sort of vegetarian, or I guess vegetable based or something. So do you have a mixture of it, or is it just totally plant-based? Like,
So I think that is an excellent question. With the name and the branding, the word of plant-based in itself, I think it can mean different things to different people. And generally speaking, it's, having whole foods like coming from plants. And that does include processed plant foods. So, and some people use the word plant-based and eat vegetarian as well. They say I'm predominantly plant-based. I think it's just all different niches, but if you like the word vegan, that is like 100%, they still eat processed food. But it really, it's more marketing, I think, in the way that it's used. Vegan is like no dairy, no vegetarian items. It's all vegan, so no dairy, all plants.
Okay.
And then plant-based kind of is, I think, in my opinion, I believe it's like a mixture, but it definitely does include processed plant-based foods. But I could be wrong. So I recommend looking that up. That's how I perceive it. these different words come up constantly. People change the definition and saying plant-based. Now people say plant-rich. So it's like a marketing thing that is forever evolving. So that's just my take on it.
Okay. So my next question is, yours is totally plant-based. Yours
Yes.
is just, okay, vegetable sense.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Mhm. Good question.
There's another question.
Mhm.
I don't know if you could see it.
Oh, I can't. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, what can you use in place of chicken to make noodles with Alfredo sauce?
Like a meat substitute. You could use walnut meat as an option. You also could use TVP or like a meat that you can get at a plant-based, like a Whole Foods. Corn, QUORN, makes vegan meats as well, and it's actually not made from soy. You could use mushrooms, absolutely. You could use shredded jackfruit. Actually, you're not going to get as much protein from shredded jackfruit. It's just more of a thing that you could have, but like mushrooms are great. Can I use the Alfredo sauce on pork chops? I can't see the rest of the question.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Smile.
On like, so Alfredo sauce on, do you want to know if you can use Alfredo sauce on pork chops?
Yeah, that's what the question is asking.
Okay. I mean, you can. I recommend, as this is, as today we're highlighting heart health, I recommend to use it more on like a plant-based item, such as like you could use a portobello cap and let that marinate and use it on top of that. I think that is a great healthy option, and similar concept with the chop, but it is definitely, a vegetable, but you can soak it overnight and have it like more of a meatier texture. You can also complement it and put walnut meat on top of it, so you have another layer of sustenance and different type of protein. Thank you, Miss Poinsettia, for just having fun with me. I appreciate. I know that was you that put that comment. So I was like, Vaseline, Miss Poinsettia, I appreciate you. And today, just because we're doing heart health, and I know many of you are coming from all different backgrounds and you're eating all different types, you could be eating all different types of food. And today my goal is just to share some things that you can start implementing to your diet to help you thrive and have good heart health. And then I'm going to go for our last dish. I'm going to show you how we're going to do the bisque. This is how the soup looks now after it's cooked down. Everything is blended, has marinated together. And now I'm going to pour it into our blender. Our sweet potatoes, and add those in there. All right. Now I'm going to turn on this. All right. Now that the soup is done, I'm going to pour it into the bowl. Okay, this is what it looks like now. So I'm just going to put it there. I don't know, might be too close to try this, but I'm looking at it. It tastes good. So one of the things that I really like about sweet potato bisque is making sure
Mhm.
that, wow. So I think one of the things with it is making sure that it's got all the different ingredients. The sweet potato helps to bring a creamier consistency. And also the coconut milk makes it creamier. The sweet potato gives you all your nutrients that you need. And the mirepoix and the seasoning at the base is really important. So those are our 3 dishes today. So we had tacos. I want to, so you can see them all together. And we have our slaw, our little salad that we made together. All right.
Mm.
All right. So it's been good cooking with you. These are dishes that we made today. And these are really good dishes to help keep you healthy and thriving. And I'll put some raisins on top of it. Okay. So I also just want to open up the floor as we're closing. Yes.
Couple question.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Looks good. I know something, can you use a blender? Can you pure the soup with the blender instead of transferring it to the pot?
Oh, yes.
this?
Yep.
Immersion
so-
blender.
Yes. So that's exactly what I did. I cooked the reason why I put it in the pot is to cook the sweet potato down. So it could be boiled down and then it can have a lower glycemic index, and also it's more ready to be blended. So I just cooked it down in the pot and then pureed, or I should say combined it all in the blender. I recommend that approach just because the sweet potato will be really tough if it's not cooked down. So, I mean, you could cook the sweet potato separately, but I do recommend having it all together in the pot first. And, allowing it to blend. So like it gives a chance for the flavors to combine together in the pot.
Yeah, can you
Nicole, I
use a
think
stick
the
blender
question
too?
was, can you use an immersion blender or a stick blender in the
Yes,
pot
stick
as
blender.
opposed to transferring it to a blender?
Absolutely, definitely. I used that as well. We were at the University of Michigan's Black History Month event in 2020, and there we made it for the U of M staff and myself. We made it for like 300 something, a lot of students, and we used the immersion blender when that was done too.
Do you have desserts?
I do have desserts. In the book, we also feature some desserts that you can make, such as there's a cookie, which is a really healthy and easy way. And it literally uses the base as a ripe banana. So yes, there's different desserts, and there's a hot chocolate that I love. And then, yeah, so definitely there's different options in the book.
Do you think in the future we could come back and we could do a in-person presentation? I love it. Looking for alternative that tastes great. Can't wait for your cooking book. To try
Well,
your
thank
cooking
you.
book.
Yes, I would love to
Great
come back in the
presentation.
future. Thank you. I would love to come back in the future. And I think ultimately it's an honor to cook with all of you. And I appreciate you all for coming today, taking time out of your busy Sunday. It means a lot to me. It's really nice to have these classes with all of your beautiful faces and your feedback. I really, really appreciate it. And also I want to share, with eating healthy, the motivations for me personally, it actually began once I started learning more about holistic health. And I think holistic health is the mind, the body, and the spirit. And I really have found, as I began to develop a relationship with God, I learned that he cares about us mentally, physically, and spiritually. So the physical is these healthy foods that we're eating, and the spiritual, he wants us to thrive. There's a verse that I like to reference. It's 3 John 2. And I really like that he wants us to prosper in all things and be in health, just as our soul prospers. So I think, you know, the Ypsilanti SDA Church, I really appreciate you for, you know, taking time and allowing our organization to present to your group. Also, if you're joining from all different areas, I highly recommend for you to check out the Ypsilanti SDA Church. They're a great resource in the community, and they have lots of great information. So reach out to the organizers when you RSVP'd. If you have other questions, you want to join their church, or you want to know different events that are coming up, make sure to check out the Ypsilanti Seventh-day Adventist Church. And for all of you old friends and new friends, it's been a pleasure to connect with you. Vaseline, thanks for yanking my chain. Good question as always. And I just want to appreciate you all and thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you, Carmen. Yes.
Hey, thank you very much, Nicole. It's a great segue to let everyone know that we are planning to have Nicole to come back for an in-person event and cooking demo where we can actually cook along with her. So if there may be a limited number of people that can actually participate in the room, but we will organize it in such a way that you can actually have all the ingredients and the recipe ahead of time so that in your kitchen, you can follow along and cook with Nicole. So all of you who have received this link, those that qualified for the free book, the complimentary book, that information was included in that email to send us your mailing address, or if you're able to pick it up at the Ypsilanti Church. So Celeste and I will be getting back with you with that information as to when it will be, when you'll get it and when you can pick it up at the church if you're going to pick it up. Let's see, and we also asked if you're interested in other events like with Nicole or things that we will be sponsoring in the future, to let us know that as well. We don't want to impose on your privacy, but we certainly don't want to leave you out if you're interested in joining us for other events. So I think that is it. I think Celeste has placed in the chat Nicole's contact information, her website address, information about the upcoming retreat in March. So you have everything that you need, and we want to thank you for joining us and look forward to working with you in the future for better health. Thank you,
Thank
Nicole.
you, Debbie. Thank you. Thank you.
So much. It was my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Nice.
Yes, thank you very much. This was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent.
That's good.
Thank you.